Jin BTS unable to hold back tears. His final concert ended with loneliness, and one confession shocked us. The applause was deafening. The lights were blinding, and yet Jin BTS stood motionless, silent amidst the roar, consumed by something no one in the audience could see. Was it the end of a long-awaited solo journey, or the echo of something far more painful? The stage in his recent Seokjin tour wasn't merely a platform for music. It became a battlefield of emotion. And in one sudden, heart-wrenching moment, Jin dropped all pretense of strength. "I miss performing with them," he said, his voice quivering, tears forming. "It's not the same without the others." This wasn't part of the script. It was raw. It was real. And it sent tremors across the fandom. What began as a triumph, a return to stage after military service, transformed into an emotional reckoning. For the first time, Jin publicly admitted that standing alone on stage felt incomplete. The euphoria of fans chanting his name couldn't mask the void left by the absence of 6 others: RM, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. "I thought I could enjoy this like before," he added, "but yesterday, something inside me cracked." Was it a fleeting vulnerability, or was it a deeper revelation about BTS's uncertain future? The Seokjin tour was carefully planned. Every light cue, every stage transition, every fan interaction had been optimized. But what couldn't be choreographed was the way Jin faltered during his final encore. As he stood under the spotlight, gripping the microphone with trembling hands, he confessed, "During rehearsals, I kept imagining them next to me. Their laughter, their energy. I wasn't ready to face this silence alone." In that moment, his loneliness became ours. His confession wasn't about stage design or vocal fatigue. It was about brotherhood, lost, distant, but still painfully present. Industry insiders had previously speculated that Jin would thrive as a soloist. And in many ways, he did. The tour was a technical success, drawing massive crowds and breaking streaming records. But what no algorithm could capture was the emotional weight he carried. He didn't ask for sympathy, nor did he play into theatrics. His expression said everything. This wasn't the performance he had dreamed of. Throughout the final concert, fans noticed subtle changes. The usually bright and cheeky, worldwide handsome, was more introspective. His speeches, usually filled with playful jokes, were laced with pauses and unspoken heaviness. "I prepared everything for this night," he told the crowd. "But I wasn't prepared for how much I'd miss them." The atmosphere shifted. Cheers quieted. Some fans openly wept. It wasn't just about nostalgia. It was about a fracture that no comeback could immediately fix. What shocked fans the most wasn't just his emotional transparency. It was the timing. Jin had just completed his military service, a symbol of maturity, discipline, and national pride. He was expected to return with confidence, to lead. But instead, he laid bare a truth many didn't expect, that BTS's unity had always been his anchor. And without it, even the biggest stage felt like exiled. In interviews leading up to the tour, Jin had mentioned wanting to make ARMY proud and give them a good time. But what no one anticipated was that amidst that mission, he'd find himself spiraling into reflection. "I saw Jungkook's video from Japan," he said quietly, referencing the youngest member's recent overseas activities. "It made me want to pick up the phone and say, 'Come here, let's do this together.'" The crowd fell silent. Even fans who had traveled across continents to see Jin's solo stage now realized this wasn't just his tour. It was his therapy. Backstage sources revealed that Jin had avoided group-related discussions throughout the tour rehearsals. He wanted to focus on the present, on his own path. But that determination seemed to waver as the days progressed. He started asking for photos of old group performances, one staff member disclosed. Then he began requesting songs from BTS's early albums during breaks. There was a longing in his eyes. That longing erupted on stage when he performed Epiphany, the song that once marked his solo strength, now a haunting echo of solitude. And yet, this wasn't a cry for reunion, at least not overtly. Jin didn't beg for the members to return. He didn't make promises about a comeback. Instead, he planted questions in the minds of everyone watching. Is BTS still whole? Will the members still find harmony when they reunite? Or has time and distance permanently changed the fabric of their bond? The fans, though unwavering in support, couldn't ignore the visible weight Jin carried. "We love you, Jin," one screamed from the front row. He smiled, grateful, but distant. "Thank you," he replied. "But I hope you also remember the seven of us, not just me." That line sparked a viral storm across social platforms. Not because it was poetic, but because it revealed a lingering insecurity, that BTS as a collective might be fading from memory. What does it mean when a global superstar, capable of commanding stadiums alone, admits he's incomplete? That the machinery of fame and solo success still fails to replicate the warmth of shared laughter and rehearsals? Jin's confession wasn't scripted. It wasn't brand safe, but it was true. And that truth carried far more power than any carefully engineered tour highlight. In the days following the concert, fan forums exploded with theories. Some argued it was a strategic emotional appeal. Others said it was a signal to HYB to accelerate group activities. But most saw it for what it was: a man who, after giving everything to his audience, suddenly realized what he was truly missing. "They're not just friends," he had said. "They're a part of me. Without them, I'm not the same artist." The Seokjin_EP tour may have ended with fireworks, cheers, and confetti. But for those who paid attention, it also ended with a question: can Jin truly find fulfillment without BTS beside him? More importantly, can BTS's magic be sustained when even its most composed member falters in their absence? The road ahead remains uncertain. With some members still in the military and others pursuing solo careers, the timeline for a full reunion remains foggy. But after Jin's revelation, fans are no longer just waiting for music, they're waiting for healing. And perhaps so is he. As the final lights dimmed and Jin walked off stage, he turned one last time to face the crowd. He didn't wave. He didn't smile. He just said one sentence that echoed like thunder across the arena: "I miss my brothers." And just like that, the concert became something else entirely. Not a celebration of success, but a silent cry for unity, for belonging, for the return of what made BTS more than just a band. It became a reminder: even the brightest stars still need their constellation. However, as the emotional storm calmed and fans tried to process the heartbreaking confessions that seemed to come from the depths of Jin's soul, an entirely different narrative quietly began to surface. Upon closer scrutiny, several inconsistencies started to emerge: timelines that didn't match, quotes that couldn't be verified, and details that simply did not align with any credible footage or official documentation. The truth, as painful as it might be to acknowledge, is this: the story above is not real. It did not happen. There was no tearful confession at the end of Jin's Seokjin tour. No emotional speech declaring a deep longing for the other BTS members. No backstage moment where he requested old BTS footage or cried alone in his dressing room. These elements, while deeply emotional and seemingly believable to many fans, are part of a fabricated narrative, created to evoke curiosity, stir emotion, and draw engagement. It was never officially recorded, streamed, or confirmed through any verified source. Jin's solo tour was indeed a powerful and celebrated return, but the scene described here, filled with emotional breakdowns and desperate longing, is entirely fictional. It is important to emphasize that this article was constructed as a dramatized narrative, not based on factual reports or verified eyewitness testimony. No official staff members have made any statements aligning with the claims, and Jin himself has not publicly expressed such sentiments in this form. Why, then, does a story like this gain traction so easily? Because it tugs at the very heart of fandom culture. The emotional bond between BTS and ARMY is one of the strongest in modern music history. Any suggestion of pain, distance, or sorrow among the members creates immediate emotional reactions. But in this case, readers must understand that this news was manufactured. using plausible emotions and imagined dialogue, but not truth. AS fans, the responsibility lies in verifying what we consume. The emotional core of this article is powerful, but it was never meant to mislead. It was created for narrative exploration, not factual reporting. Readers should be reminded to approach such viral stories with caution and seek confirmation from official BTS channels or trusted news outlets. In short, Jin never made these statements, and the emotional breakdown described never took place.